first became a funded trader all the way back in 2021, and it completely transformed my life. I went from struggling as a trader, working a minimum wage job, and essentially hating my life to getting funded all the way up to $400,000 and living full-time 100% off my trading income for an entire 2 years. And in this video, I'm going to discuss the 4 things that got me there, the 4 mindset shifts that had to take place in order for me to become a successful prop trader. The first is to actually shift your goal when it comes to becoming a funded trader. So you're watching this because you want to become a funded trader, you want to take a challenge, you want to buy it, you want to pass, and you want to receive that fantastic certificate, that payout. That is your number 1 goal. And that was my number 1 goal as well. However, I don't think it should be. I think that the number 1 goal when it comes to taking a challenge should actually be to preserve your capital. Now, let me explain. This was my number 1 priority when I was first taking my challenges because I was already living full-time off my trading income, which meant that if I blew $500, $600, $700 on a challenge, that was half a month's worth of rent for me, and I simply could not afford to do it. You see, I quit my job before I even became a funded trader. I don't necessarily recommend that, but what it did was it massively put my back up against a wall, and I needed to force myself to make things work. So those days of maxing out my credit card to go full margin on a trade, or buying, selling, reversing, doubling up positions, doing all the silly, dumb things that traders do, I could no longer do it because I was forced to make things work. So that's a side note, but that is what led to this realization of saying my number 1 goal isn't to become a funded trader. My number 1 goal is to make sure I don't lose a half a month's worth of rent. And so by shifting your mindset towards that, you're really going to shift your entire perspective and your entire risk management approach, right? You're going to force yourself to be more patient, to be more disciplined, to wait for the right setups. And of course, you're going to be a much less emotional trader because you're not going to be worrying about the money that you're losing that you invested in the challenge. Quick break, I want to tell you about our school community. We are sharing for free over $4,000 worth of courses, everything that I learned to become a funded trader and trade full-time. And again, it is completely free. You can join down below, free, $4,000 worth of courses. Love to see you there. I'm in there all the time, so you can ask questions, you can connect with other traders. It's fantastic, so hope to see you there. Number 2 is probably the most important, and it's the single framework that transformed my trading the most. It's really the Stoic approach and the Stoic mindset of determining what is within your control and what is outside of your control. There is a great Stoic quote that says that we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. And it's so true. All the time in trading and life, we're always stressing about the things that could go wrong. Not making money, blowing accounts, never making it. Am I using the right strategy? Am I using the wrong strategy? All of these things lead to a whole bunch of stress. But the reality is most of them are outside of our control. And when I figured this out, it made my entire life and my trading so much easier. You see, I was always stressed about the next trade. I was always stressed about making money. I was always stressed about my win rate. I was worried about getting burned by news events, but they're all outside of my control. However, there are a handful of things in trading that are within your control. And by only focusing on those, it can change your trading. So for example, when I first started adopting this mindset, I began to only focus on, for example, my trading routine. What time did I wake up? What sessions did I trade? What pairs did I trade? How did I approach a news event? Did I stay on the sidelines? My risk management. How much am I risking per trade? How many confluences do I need to take a trade? What time frame am I trading on? You see, all of these things are within your control. Most traders, they focus on things that they can't control. They focus on trying to win trades, on making money. You can make money. It's not within your control, but these variables are. And so by only focusing on them, you're going to have so much more power. You're going to have so much more strength in your trading because all of your energy is going to be going towards things that you can improve upon, that you can control, that you can manipulate. Number 3 is when and how to determine when to buy a challenge and when to start a challenge. Now, I'm going to tell you that no other prop CEO is going to tell you, and that is that you should only be purchasing a challenge once you are consistent, once you have an edge, and once you know what you are actually doing. Unfortunately, we get emails and messages in our Discord all the time from traders that are asking questions that are really basic. For example, what is a pip? You shouldn't be signing up for a prop challenge if you're not yet familiar with what a pip is. That shouldn't be getting asked because, again, you should only be purchasing a prop challenge once you are consistent and once you know what you're doing. So to tell you exactly what I did, because it could be useful for some of you out there, I needed to get funded because I had already quit my job. So time was of the essence, but I knew that I couldn't just jump right in. I needed to be patient and I needed to have momentum on my side. I am a huge believer in momentum, in trading, in life, and everything. Momentum is huge. And so for me, I had been trading for many years, so I knew what my strategy was. I knew what my edge was. But in order to get that momentum, I needed to pretend that I was already trading a prop challenge. So I needed to be very focused, very disciplined. And I said to myself, once I am ending every week profitable, up in the green, not for months and months, but 2, 3, 4 weeks of consistency, then I'm ready. Then I can take the challenge. And that's exactly what I did. I waited until I had 2 or 3 green weeks when I was profitable, and then I signed up for a challenge, and then I took it. Because having that mindset of knowing that, okay, things are going my way, things are going well, I'm making money, I'm having wins in the market, it changes everything. Whereas if you're in a deep losing streak, you're questioning your strategy, you're questioning a lot of things, it's the worst time to take a challenge because it's already difficult. It's going to be so much more difficult if you enter it with that mindset. And so really be patient, wait until you're finding that consistency, and then jump in once you're ready and take the challenge. Okay, number 4 of the winning prop trading mindset relates to number 3, but we're going a step further. You've now signed up for your challenge. The question is, when do you start your challenge? So when I first got funded, when I was taking these challenges, unfortunately, there were still 30-day time limits, which made it a lot harder. And so that's where this framework first came in that I'm going to explain. But I think it still applies today. I think there's still a lot of value in it. So basically, back in the day, if you're new to prop trading, there were 30-day time limits, unfortunately. And that 30-day timer would usually start not just from your purchase, but from your first trading date, which meant that I needed to be incredibly disciplined and methodical in determining what trade I took first. Because as soon as I entered a trade, the timer had started, the clock was running, and I was going to need to make that 10% in 30 days. And so I would first off be very patient and very disciplined. I would make sure that it was the A+ of A+ setup. So ask yourself, what does an A+ setup look like? What is the most perfect, ideal setup that you could possibly see? And that is the type of setup that you want to start your challenge with. Because again, it brings us back to the last part, momentum is everything. You really, really, really want to do your very best to start your challenge with a win. You want the first trade to be a win. You see it all the time at Lark Funding that traders are taking really B-, C+ setups to start the challenge. It leads to a loss, and then they're already playing catch up from the very, very beginning. And so doing your absolute best to ensure that that first trade is a win. Of course, again, it's outside of your control, that Stoic approach, but by aligning all the variables that are within your control, finding that A+ up, it makes a huge, huge difference. So again, I took $400,000 challenges, and I'm proud to say that from my recollection, at least, every single trade, the first trade on those challenges were all wins. And sometimes I would have to wait 2-3 weeks to start that challenge to get that A+ setup, which for me was, daily time frame, 3-4 confluences, but it really helped build momentum. So bringing it back to the main part of how to determine what trade to start with, how to start the challenge. Again, it comes back to A+ setup. And I like to always ask myself, if I were to lose the entire challenge because of this trade, if I take this trade that I'm thinking of taking and I end up losing the entire challenge because of it, could I live with myself? If in your gut and your head, you're saying no, because it's not a perfect setup, but if you have really come to accept the fact that many things are outside of your control, this is the best possible setup that you could take, and you can live with the result regardless of what it is, that is the setup that you want to take, and that is what's going to help you get to the next step of making 1%, 2%, and then going on to become a funded trader. Those were the 4 things that absolutely transformed my trading to help me become a full-time trader, help me become a funded trader, and really, I haven't looked back since. So if you made it this far, as always, we appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Join the school community, which again is down below. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.